and welcome to Book 101 Review. Book 101 is all about the books that I've read for the last 40 years. And today I have my special guest. He's a best selling author and creative director, no other than Mr. Christian Hurst.
Thank you so much. Glad to be here.
Welcome, Mr. Christian, a Book 101 review. And can you please introduce more about yourself that I miss?
Sure, absolutely. I'm excited to be here. As you said, I'm a creative director. I've spent the last 15 plus years developing brands and design for various organizations. And now I split my time with writing fiction and my award-winning series, Lily Starling, has been doing well lately. And last week we were charting as a bestseller all week. So exciting times.
Congratulations, Mr. Christian, and hoping for more and more best selling books to come. Or I hope award winning piece too. Congratulations. And let's talk
Thank
about
you.
your best selling piece. Tell us what it's all about. Lily Starling.
Yeah, I'd love to. So, Lily Starling and the Voyage of the Salamander is basically it's a kind of a pulpy throwback to a space opera type adventure, almost like a pre-Star Trek serialized type of space opera, except for a modern audience. And so it's a very diverse cast. It's very realistic when it comes to emotional realism. And Lily, as a character, is very much meant to be uh, real in her feelings and her flaws, very flawed and real character. And so it talks a lot about themes of identity and themes of connection. You know, when I was younger, I often felt like an outsider. I felt kind of like I was outside looking in on the world sometimes. And sometimes that can actually be a wonderful thing to me. I think that it gives you perspective, but it can also be incredibly lonely. And so I wanted to speak to young people and talk a little bit about that, about how there will be connection in your life that you don't have to feel like you're trapped in the loneliness forever. So,
And Mr. Christian, the title itself is evocative. What does salamander represent in this story, and what kind of voyage are we embarking on? Is it physical, emotional, or both?
it is both, in fact. And um, Lily is so the reader enters. I won't give any spoilers, but the reader enters the story at the same perspective as the main character. So, Lily is from 2010. She doesn't have any memory of who she is, and so when you start reading the story, you are basically working from the same baseline of not knowing what's going on. And then very quickly, we are propelled into this adventure in the future and aboard the starship, which is named Salamander. And you will find out in the book a little bit about that, more so in the second book. But the the name has roots in sci-fi. I would love to see if anybody could figure out where it came from. I won't give that away. That's just my kind of little mystery for people. But the name in the story, it's kind of a meta commentary on how um, human civilization evolves over the years and how Lily will find that things in the future are not exactly how she might expect them to be.
Can you paint a picture of the unique world or universe where Lily Starling's adventure take place? What sets it apart from other fantasy settings?
Sure. I think you'll find that the emotional realism is something that's a little bit unique to this world, and how even though um, she's embarking on these grand adventures and there's all these different alien species, it's much less uh, Star Wars. It's much less um, where the different species represent sort of archetypes. Um, in this book, each individual character has emotional depth and range, and so you might not be able to judge a book by its cover.
Mr. Christian, what is the initial spark, the core image, character, or idea that launched the entire journey of writing this book?
Well, I've been creating stories for my entire life. When I was a kid, I loved to write and draw comic books and act out adventures with my toys or my stuffed animals or and with my siblings. And I was a very dramatic child. And when I grew older, I made films and I wrote songs and I wrote poems and short stories. And so I've been creating my whole life. Now I've been in the brand world and marketing and advertising for a long time, which is obviously a lot of storytelling. This story in particular sort of originated when I was around 19 or so. I started playing with the ideas and themes in the story, and I finally just kind of got around to developing it as a novel. I wasn't quite sure what it would turn into. And so I think the journey has been influenced by the things I've learned in my life, but these themes have always been very important to me of having a core sense of who you are, and that's what really gets you through um, life is your sense of identity, and through the more difficult times, uh, you have to rely on that because everything else kind of seems fluid. The reality we live in isn't always what it seems, but your strength of who you are and your identity can get you through.
Without giving too much away, what is the central conflict or mystery that Lily must face on this voyage?
Well, it's around the expectations that are put on her. She doesn't know who she is, and she meets these people that are very sure of who she is, and they tell her basically what her place is in all of this. And when that happens to you, I think it happens to all of us at a young age when you have an authority figure, a parent, or a um, priest, or a teacher, or whoever who they just see you, and immediately there are these expectations in place, and they tell you who you should be. And I think um, the main conflict in the story is this dissonance between what Lily feels like who she is inside and what everybody expects her to be. And so that on the backdrop of kind of an interstellar war that is going on between the Union, which is the basically this coalition of planets that includes humans, and the Krythar, which are a psionic race of scary aliens that we will get to know throughout the story.
Scary aliens. Interesting, Mr. Christian. On character and journey, tell us about Lily Starling. What is a defining character trait that makes her the perfect protagonist for this kind of adventure? And what is a flaw or fear she must overcome?
Well, I think that one of the things that people have responded to, and I've gotten a lot of positive feedback on, is the fact that she is a very flawed character. She's not perfect. She's not even perfectly moral. Sometimes, she makes mistakes, and you'll find out from the very beginning of the book, she could be kind of sarcastic and kind of snarky, I think, sometimes, but she's always a has a good heart. She's coming from a place of compassion. She stands up for the little guy, and she puts herself out there. And she's a hero because she takes action. She's not a hero because she's perfect. And so I think that people will see a lot of themselves. I hope that people see a lot of themselves in Lily and the potential to do good and to do your best to influence the things around you, even if you don't feel like Superman, right? You're
Hmm.
you're not perfect. Nobody's perfect. So we're all we can do is act based on the best knowledge that we have. And that was something I really wanted to uh, have in place with her being a young female character, was that I think people would go in reading with a certain set of expectations, this young woman, and she would hopefully, as they read, they will come to find that she is the opposite of some of that, where she's more like other heroes that you might be familiar with, like, like James Bond or like Captain Kirk from Star Trek, where the these typically male protagonists, they walk into a room and they never ask for a consensus. They never wait for people to tell them what to do. They act, right?
Hmm.
That's the nature of their heroism, is going in and doing. And that's what I wanted Lily to be, this character who has instincts, and she goes off the instincts and she does, and there are consequences to that. Not always what she was trying to achieve, but the fact that she is willing to put her neck out there on the line and just do it, that's where her heroism comes in.
Mr. Christian, a great adventure often forces a character to question everything they know. What is the core belief that Lily holds at the beginning of the story that is fundamentally challenged by the end?
Well, I don't want to give spoilers, but I think that um, a lot of it is around that sense of identity, and really she's trying to discover who she is. And you know, there will be people in the story telling her, "Hey, you are this, and that's what you are." And there will be other people telling her that she's another thing. And she even gets, messages from the past that kind of give her a sense of maybe some clues. And um, so I think at the very beginning of the book, what is her motivation is really trying to find herself, and that is challenged throughout the entire story. It is, and so eventually she has to uh, come to the conclusion of who she is on her own and decide her own destiny.
Mr. Christian, the best fantasy uses the extraordinary to explore very human truth. What is the real world issues or emotional challenges that the story helps to eliminate?
Well, it talks a lot about things that are relevant now. I think the one of the ideas that I wanted to go into was this idea that there's a lot of absolutism in the world, this sure knowledge that people put out there, that I know exactly what's going to happen. You listen to me and you're going to be okay. And where what we could really use a little bit more of in this world, I think, is a little bit of healthy doubt, a little bit of
Hmm.
um, admitting that we don't necessarily know what's going to happen tomorrow, and that can be very freeing. So that was one of the things I explored in the book, is the people that are very sure are often the people that you should avoid at all costs when it comes to who you listen to. And the more sure somebody is, the less you should listen to them. Um, so that was one, but I think there are a few themes, in the uh, the book that are very relevant to our time, and just um, that the world is not always a place that is predictable, and so we have to find ways to have a strong sense of self to get through that.
Mr. Christian, as a best-selling author and creative director, what are your short-term and long-term goals?
Well, right now my goal is to just create more. I started to write this series because for the last 15 plus years I've been doing work for clients, and while it's been fulfilling and I've done some cool work and I've worked for some amazing clients and gotten my work in front of many, many people. At the same time, I missed creating art that was sort of under my own control that could tell the stories and the things that I wanted to put out into the world. So my long-term goals right now are to uh, continue this series. It's going to be 5 books, and I have them loosely outlined. I'm working on the third book now. So the I want to tell Lily's story. I want to get through the the series and hopefully have this become at least a self-sustaining operation. You know, my goal right now is not to become rich and famous. I just want people to read this. I hope that it connects with people, and I want to be able to spend more time doing it and putting out good quality story for people to connect with and just to tell Lily's story in the best way possible.
Well, good luck to your goals, Mr. Christian, and looking forward for more success. And what would be a piece of advice for those people out there who want to be a best-selling author or also like you?
Well, I think the most important thing that I learned in my creative career before I released a novel was to not be precious about your ideas. And so um, once you've put your ads out there for the umpteenth time in front of a million people, and then the ads just kind of go away overnight. You learn that how media is kind of disposable for the most part, and people it catches people's attention, and then they move on. And so, if you're putting your work out there, if you're planning on creating something, um, yes, give it your all and put your heart into it. But also remember that if it doesn't go the way that you want it to go, create something else and just keep going. Don't get stuck in this idea that this is my life's work, and if it doesn't work out, I'm just going to, you know, take my ball and go home. I think that the key to creating good art is to just keep doing it, keep creating it, and it'll just get better and better, and people more and more people will connect with it.
Thank you for that advice, Mr. Christian. And can you please recommend a book or books that influenced your journey?
Yes, absolutely. I just finished rereading Station 11, so I recommend that. I'm really into Becky Chambers lately. Red Rising. In fact, there is a website called Book Shepherd, and if you look me up on Book Shepherd, I have a page on there where I have several recommendations that books that I recommend to other people that are sort of um, spiritual cousins to my book. And so look me up on Book Shepherd if you want to know all the books that I recommend.
Mr. Christian, thank you for that recommended books. And tell us if book feels like it has a great cinematic potential. If you had unlimited resources, what would one of the most visually stunning scenes from the book look like on the big screen?
Oh, that's a good question, and I think there are a few in there, but the one that comes to mind is when they are entering Myrefall City, which is this ancient city of kind of ruins with these big statues, and I think that would be a cool scene because it's on sort of a rainforest planet, and there's I can just imagine it mist and big collapsing statues and alien people walking around trading and that kind of thing. So I tried to write it in such a way that it would be expansive. The other one is Starbase 12, so I really went into a lot of detail and tried to write a starbase that you've never seen in a movie or a book before, where it's more almost like its own world. So that would be exciting to see in a motion picture.
Definitely looking forward for that, Mr. Christian. Who knows, right? Who
That's right.
knows? Yes, dream, keep dream big. So, what kind of a reader do you think will connect with Lily's stories the most? Is it for the dreamers, the adventurers, or for those searching for their own place in the world?
Oh, that's a great one. I think all three, but I think the cool thing about it is you can enjoy it on different levels. So it is definitely an adventure. There is quite a fast-paced adventure in there. The pacing doesn't slow down from beginning to end. Uh, but there's also real heart and emotion, and I think you can connect with these characters on a very personal level. I know I they feel real to me, so I'm also excited to finish writing their stories because I want to see what happens next.
If you could ensure readers feel one specific emotion upon finishing the last page of Lily's Starling and the voyage of the salamander, what would you want that emotion to be?
I think the word that comes to mind is connection. That's the word I always use. I don't know if that counts as an emotion, but the connection to other human beings. We live in a world and a time where even though we have the capability through technology of being connected at all times, it seems like in reality we are disconnected from other people on an individual level more and more. And so I think in this story, I just want people to feel that connection is possible and that you can either choose to look up at the stars and say that, look at this vast universe, I feel insignificant and small, or you can look up at the stars and say, I'm not alone.
Yes, definitely. You're not alone, people. We are not alone in the universe. There's a billions of planets. We're not alone. We are not alone for sure. So, Mr. Christian, before we wrap up our discussion for today, I'm inviting you to please do listen to my other podcast, people. Other podcast because my abstract essay is already in the fifth season. Abstract poetry in second season. I'm a book 101 review in fifth season too. Comedy 101 in third season, and my food 101 in fifth season as well. Geography 101 in its fourth season, as well as love letters. Movie 101 Review, Music 101, and My Baby Podcast, Law 101, Mental Health 101, and Bible Verses 101, Science 101, and Sex 101 in each second season. So please listen to them wherever you listen your podcast. So, Mr. Christian, finally, does Lily's story continue? And if so, what was the most exciting thread you left dangling that you're eager to pick it up in the next adventure?
Yes, book two is out, Storm Riders, and I have been told by many that it's better than the first one. it's a little different. The first book is kind of like several episodes of a season almost, and then the second book is more like a film, and it's a little more cinematic, a little bit of more of a stronger story arc throughout the whole thing. And Tea with Roz is a short story that goes in between the two books. But Storm Riders definitely ends on an interesting note, and I think the third book is going to be um, Empire Strikes Back, a little bit of that. So that's my teaser for the third book. But the uh, the Storm Riders, I'm anxious for people to check that out and to really start promoting that now that the first book has become popular.
Yes, please do come over again and let's talk about it on abstract essay. Mr. Christian, I totally 100% support you. So, can you please invite our listeners to support your books? And before that, thank you so much for sharing your knowledge and wisdom to the world. Mr. Christian, hoping for more and more empowering books or best selling books to come. So, can you please invite our listeners?
Yes, you can come find me on it's lilystarlingbook.com. All my socials are usually at C Hurst Publishing. Come find me on Instagram or TikTok or Substack. I have a Substack as well.
Yes, people, let's support Mr. Christian Hurst because if you support him, for sure, more and more empowering books or best selling books to come. So, Mr. Christian, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much, Daniel.
But come, people, see you soon.